Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Andrew Capel. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Why, Who, How podcast. Without further ado, let's bring on one of my former colleagues, Ryan Martinson.
Hey Andrew, how's it going, man?
Doing well. Good to catch up, Ryan. Why don't you talk about your new venture and how and why you got started?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple friends and I started a new video agency in the last couple months here. As you know, we worked together at a larger national firm called Levitate Media. I was there for 5 years, ran the client relations team, and a buddy of mine approached me about the opportunity of kind of restarting his company. He owned a smaller production company based out of Chicago and wanted to take it nationwide. So, I talked to him about what I would need to see for us to do that. And we basically rebranded his company, formed a new LLC together, and, co-founded this new video agency. So pretty similar, a lot of video production work, animation work, but we also do paid media strategy when it comes to video ads as well, mostly focusing on connected TV and streaming ads.
Okay. And so Ryan, did you move from Minnesota to Chicago, or are you still you all are based in that upper Midwest area?
I did not. I'm still holding it down in the western suburbs of Minnesota, of Minneapolis. And the company is technically based out of Chicago, but I operate here. So we have two in Chicago, one in LA, who's more of our creative director, film director, and then I head up the operations out of Minneapolis, basically.
Cool. And who are the folks that you work with? Is it a size of company? Is it a type of needs that they have, or is it still a little bit evolving as you figure it out?
I would say it's still a little bit of evolving as we're figuring it out. I mean, technically, we can work with anybody and everybody who needs video or is looking into connected TV or streaming advertising, doing, targeted media buying to find their ICP and serve them media across their large screen TV in their living rooms, right? But the end of the day, I would say our main ICP is probably kind of that smaller to mid-sized business, probably 10 to 50 employees, up to 25 million in revenue, kind of that startup, high growth company, growth size company, where we can kind of get our foot in the door, help them establish their brand, their creative voice, and get them some performance on TV spots.
Sure. How do you think about video systems or like creating content that serves multi purposes, or that helps to represent the business? Because if you're if I'm a startup or if I'm running a business, I might just want to get one animated explainer video, but I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. So how would you approach that?
So our approach is really more of maximizing the creative output for every project. So
Okay.
we're doing a lot of discovery work on the front end to figure out what the company's goals are, kind of where they are in the market, what they've done historically from a video standpoint, and then coming in and being like, look, hey, we're your full service video agency. We'll handle everything from production to media placement. We really want to focus on maximizing every single asset that you can get from a project, right? So when you mentioned, hey, I just need one explainer video. Okay, that's great. But how can we cut that one explainer video into multiple different assets that you can use across multiple channels? So we're really turning, any project into a plethora of assets. And then, we know what performs too. So, before I went to Levitate, I came from a digital advertising background, was with a company called Steelhouse. They turned into Mountain, got Ryan Reynolds on board. While I was there, we beat Snapchat to 100 million in revenue.
Wow.
So came from that performance marketing, digital marketing background, and moved to the creative side. Now I'm combining both, right? So we know what to do, what performs, and we can combine that creative and precise targeting for our clients.
Nice. And what are some of the emerging trends or video formats? Like what's new? When we worked together, you always had the latest apps and formats and different styles. So what are you excited about in the second half of 2025?
Honestly, the AI capabilities are getting pretty crazy, especially on like the animation side, taking any image and then animating it. Basically, you can create anything now in ChatGPT with their latest update, and then use tools like Kling, which allows you to then animate that. It's pretty sweet. People are making like full length feature films and short films through AI now without shooting any content. So yeah, I mean, where I'm trying to keep up with is these different AI tools and how we can utilize them for pieces of production. I think that the creative, the concepting, the initial planning, right, is still always going to need to be done by the creatives, the marketers, right? But there are so many different tools now that are getting better every single day that you can use at a much more cost effective, I guess, a much more cost effective output than hiring teams of animators and film crews and things like that. So those are things that we're exploring and that I'm excited about for
Yeah.
sure.
So your team, when you're working with clients, you're using AI tools in your workflows and to expedite and to get rid of that blank page or the blank storyboard issue to really iterate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're using different tools to help build storyboards for clients, help visualize some of the concepts that we're putting forth in our pitches in that pre-production phase. But we're experimenting with using different AI for B-roll clips too, where if we want something very specific, we can literally have AI generate that clip for us without having to go through different stock libraries and pick the one that we think is okay and pay $200 a clip for.
Yeah.
There are ways that we can get what we need at very low costs through AI. So.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot here. Timelines. What are timelines? I'm sure it depends, but talk through some of the common scenarios or common project types.
I mean, we're a pretty quick and efficient team. I would say an average project for us is about 6 weeks from start to finish. Now that could include a live shoot with talent. That could also include just like a simple corporate video or an animation. But we always strive for about a 6-week timeline, especially when we're running connected TV campaigns or paid media efforts with that video. Client wants to get that video out as fast as possible. So we streamline the process, really try to get things done in 6 weeks or less. But then obviously, the more complex the project, the longer things turn out or take. But yeah, I would say six weeks is what we strive for.
Okay. And what about A/B testing the different ads? Like, are you giving different variations to test? Like, do you have to come back and say, okay, this didn't perform, so we're going to iterate, or how does that work?
Absolutely. That's one of the things we love doing is staying in constant communication with our clients too. If we're not running the media for the video that we created, doing biweekly or monthly check-ins after we've delivered the final product to see how it's performing. Do we want to test out some different iterations, like you said? But on the front end, I mean, that's one of the things that we strive for in maximizing the creative output of every project. We're always recommending 2 to 3 different versions of the TV spot, the 30-second spot, the 15-second spot. We're always recommending, if it's a case study or testimonial video, creating those 30 or 15s from that they can then promote on LinkedIn to get people to watch the further or the longer cut, right? So on the front end, we're kind of baking that in to a lot of our projects already, and then iterating as we need for different like call to actions, or hooks or things like that.
Yeah, just a side note or pro tip. I've been putting out podcasts and video content, and Ryan looks at my stuff. He gives me some good tips, and then says, "Make it shorter, make it shorter, make it simpler." So some pro tips there. Ryan is great to deal with. He just knows stuff that is really hard to know.
Yeah, no, you're coming along for sure. Always happy to make recommendations, solicited or unsolicited.
There you go. And Ryan, so to wrap up here, in terms of the like the model, so you work off those one-off projects. Do you do a retainer model? You mentioned an agency. I'm sure it's a little bit flexible, but just for for someone who might not know, talk through some of the ways that you engage.
Awesome. Yeah, typical projects are on a project by project basis, right? We do have clients who are on retainers where we'll work with them more on like, a quarterly strategy, especially those ones that are running paid media campaigns with us, where we'll build out like a quarterly plan or a half year plan, right? 6-month plan based on what their goals are. But most tests come in as a single project. We have a program called our video roadmap that actually allows us to get started with a client for their first project with us as well. So we'll write a script, we'll develop the storyboard for like an explainer video or a TV spot, or if it is more of your standard corporate video, right? We'll go through pre-production with them, build out interview questions, shot list ideas, different B-roll that we want to shoot or pull in if we can't get the shot. So we're doing something pretty aggressive. We're actually willing to produce a full TV spot with talent, or a fully animated spot if the client is feeling more animation vibes. Where we'll produce that spot for free if they run a 3-month connected TV test with us. So there are some minimums to that test. Typically, we recommend a $20K per month minimum for any type of connected TV or streaming ad buy, just because the CPMs are pretty high, especially if you want to layer on precise targeting and things like that. But yeah, I mean, that's something that's pretty aggressive on our end. It's high risk, but also high reward once we, prove ourselves, and then they come back for more.
Awesome. For folks that are interested in that, where would we send them?
You can send them to our website. It's just hippo-media.com. You can click on the contact page. You can check out our work on there, but there's a form fill on there. Fill that out, go directly to me, and we'll set up a call and see what you're looking for.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Everyone check out Hippo Media.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to catch up.
Thanks for checking out the show. Please follow along on YouTube, LinkedIn, and wherever you get your podcasts.